Paris today. We are in Paris today, in the skyline of Paris there. We're going to talk today's video is about porn. My thoughts on porn. Let's get to it. Alright, I'm going to talk about porn. Let's put on the appropriate hat for this topic. And porn, what's my take on porn? So I think I first started watching porn, how old was I? 1988, back when I lived in Perth. So 88, it's probably about 10 or 11. And my mate's like, oh, you know, like, my dad's got these porn tapes, and we'd put them in the VHS, and one of us took turns at watching the window in case mum and dad were coming home. And so that was my intro to porn. It was just this California, you know, just classic 70s, 80s porn. Pretty clean cut, like just straight sex, nothing too full on. So that was my introduction. I was like, oh yeah, cool. These days though, you know, I think kids are getting introduced to it at a really early age on their smartphones. You know, it's, yeah, explicit content, you know, like, and when you're that age, you don't have the full adult context, do you? So then it sets a standard. You know, you got guys, you know, using a stack of steroids, you know, and you got girls with crazy surgery. And again, I'm not against any of these things. I'm just saying that a lot of kids don't understand what's going on. They think the guy looks like natty, and the girl looks like, these girls think that's just natty, and it just creates this really warped, and just pause this for a second. Now we can be fully present. Yeah, so we've got these kids out there, and adults as well, just watching this crazy stuff, you know, like, I mean, this is for YouTube, so we can't go too in depth in it, but just, you know, what we'd call pretty full on. Again, which full on is what's a very subjective term. But it just creates this, I'd say, heavily unrealistic standard for men and women out there, young kids, etc., watching this stuff, you know, teenagers. When I say kids, I mean teenagers. But I mean, who knows how young kids are watching this stuff these days, because they've got smartphones, you know. So the accessibility, I mean, even on social media, you know, there's so much soft porn going on there, you know. And you're like, you're an 8-year-old kid, you've probably got a smartphone, and you're going to go on Instagram, you're going to see, you know, what's on Instagram? You get shoved full of, you know, guys on heaps of steroids who are lying about it. You know, Athlean X, Greg Douchet, you know, these fitness influencers, etc., you know, have a lot of followers and stuff like that. You know, building these physiques on steroids, which is, again, nothing wrong with it, but these kids think that's normal and natural. And, you know, kids at age 13 are going to start taking steroids and stuff. So, and then, you know, then they're going into porn, and then you got girls who are like, see these models who are like, you got 20-year-old girls out there using Facetune to face out wrinkles and stuff, and lip fillers and Botox. And you're 20. You're 20. I mean, who cares what age? You don't need lip fillers and Botox or whatever. You know, you don't. You can get it if you want, but you don't need it. It's your attitude that matters the most. It's your vibe you give off. It's how easy you are to be around, and your communication set. That's what really matters to men like me. You know, I should say to quality men that you want in your life. Your communication standards, your vibe you give off, your feminine presence, that's what really matters. It's not that jab hit, like, that doesn't mean shit. Anyway, you know, so we have this unrealistic thing with porn going. You got these young kids who think this is how women should look, this is how men should look, and this is how when they start pouting, this is how it goes on. And some of it can be fine, it can be educational for sure, techniques, etc. That's really important. But a lot of it is just like, yeah, man, it's warped. It can be really, really warped, and then it becomes like more extreme. So hey, like, bring it back. Like, this is, you know, bread and avocado levels are good enough. You know, maybe spice up here and there, but this full on, you know, going crazy. It's like, man, I think, you know, again, this is all subjective, personal interpretation. But I think that the more perverted the porn gets, it's like, man, like, you need that level of full on to get off. It's maybe your hormones you know, can be balanced up better. Maybe your cholesterol's too low or too high, or you're going to bed too late, or you blah 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 blah. You know, or you got too much anxiety about something that you can relax on because you need to eat more carbohydrate because you're not getting enough, so you're flipping out. But you need this full on, you know, extreme erotica, you know, to be stimulated. So I think if you get to that point in life where just basic sex isn't enough, or basic porn isn't enough for whatever reason, then you need the next level stuff. I would say that you need to, like, have a break from all that, you know, and recharge yourself. You know, it's like food. It's like, you know, I'm drinking lemonade here, And people are like, lemonade, that's boring, you know, like lemonade, you know, but if you need more than lemonade, you know, if you need a vodka and lemonade or something, or a big chunk of fatty ice cream in your lemonade or whatever, then you know, so I'm saying it's a bit of a bad analogy, but you know, my thoughts on it, I think the porn industry, you know, a lot of girls get into porn because they're doing revenge porn. You know, they had a boyfriend, you know, this is what happens, like, you know, you got a young 18-year-old hot girl, she just going around just like, you know, looking at all the guys and all the suitors, and the nice guys, they're boring, so she gets, the fuck boys and the steroids and the good looking guys, like, they see her and they just wrap her up, she's like, oh my god, and then they just like, she's just another girl in the rotation. She's like, oh, but I thought I was special, So all the guys that could have given her the love and attention and appreciation, make her feel seen, heard and complimented, they got pushed to the wayside. And then this, you know, the alpha fuckboy guys, you know, who just see women as just like whatevs, you know, numbers, you know, she falls for them, then she gets a heartbroken. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to do porn, become an actress, and blah, blah, blah. She's never really happy with that, you know, or she had some parent issues or whatever, and then she gets into drugs, and she does the drugs to do the porn, and then the porn give her the money for the drugs, and it's just like vicious cycle going on. So that's a lot of porn actresses, most of them, I'd say. And the guys, you know, they get into it just, you know, because they're like, oh, I can get paid to, you know, bang all these horny chicks who are horny for the camera, etc., and maybe in real life as well. It's pretty entertaining. So most guys be like, oh, I can do that, especially if they fit that physical, you know, phallic size, etc. You know, again, which is, you know, now also sets out a false standard. I mean, myself, I have a larger than average banana, which has its pros and cons. You know, has its pros and cons. But I see, you know, all the adverts that come along, and I'm thinking, man, they're just preying on these guys out there, telling them that you need this size for that, you know, satisfaction with a woman. And so your size does matter, but it's more about other things, well, the emotional connection, the passion, the presence, the energy, how comfortable and how cared for, you know, how cared she feels and stuff like that. She's ovulating, she's on the pill, she's totally numb, blah, 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 blah. There's so many factors, all right? So many factors, you know. How you make her feel is number one, regardless of what girth you pack and etc. I mean, from my experience, a lot of women only want to be around you when they're ovulating, when they can really handle that size and intensity. And the rest of the time, it's like, oh no, thanks, I'm busy. So that's just been my experience in my life. And at the start, I took that personal. I was like, well, this, isn't it? Oh, okay. So I only want to do an intense ride maybe once or twice a week, not every day. That's too much. So you got to understand that, have the empathy there. So it's the pros and cons to everything in life. So that's my take on porn. I think, you know, people get addicted to it, and I'm like, man, like, if you're addicted to porn, it takes up your whole day, then, you know, get in a sport or have an outlet for that sexual desire, which is fine, but just, you know, like, tame it and bottle it up, you know, and use it when it's appropriate, versus just spray it everywhere and just like waste all your energies and focus, you know what I mean? Because sex drive, libido is a very powerful thing. If you tap into that, can take you very far places in life, and also can get you in a lot of trouble as well. Right? So you got to tame it. You know, it's like hunger. It's like hunger. You can, you know, have where's my pizza box gone? You know, I wanted pizza last night. I ordered 2 pizzas. I was hungry. I only got to finish 1 because I was so full. But you know, just look how low fat that is. You know, everyone gets hungry. Everyone's going to get horny at some point in their life when they're an adult. But like, you got to tame it. So I didn't get a fatty pizza I regretted. I don't regret eating pizza last night. Woke up this morning, didn't regret it. I was like, pizza was good. Smells good. Starting to get the pizza craving again. You know, I've got no guilt, no regret, because this is good. This is clean, lean, low-fat pizza. Digests great. So it's about taming your hunger and using it wisely versus just eating anything or doing anything of anyone and getting yourself into some trouble there. So does that really answer the question? My thoughts on porn? I think it's got its pros and cons. I'm glad it's out there, and I'm glad it's not out. I'm glad it gets suppressed. And it's like, it's got to have the balance point, you know. But I don't think it should be so easily accessed for young people out there. Or there should be lessons. If it's going to be, it is easy to access right now. So if it is easy to access, then we should have modalities in school where we teach kids, okay, this is the truth about the porn industry. This is how people get into it. This guy's on steroids. This is Photoshop, blah, 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 blah. She's had surgery, blah, blah, blah. There's a consequence. These are complications. These are the risks involved, kids. There you go. Just saying. Just saying. We don't get the education, do we? It's like drugs. You know what I mean? Like, Where's the education on drugs? Drugs are bad, kids, don't do it. And you're like, really? Oh, okay, well, I'm curious now. Versus you're telling the kids the truth about drugs. Don't do drugs, kids, you know. Or if you're going to do them safely with people you trust, really, really trust. But again, you know, I think we should legalize drugs. I think the government should supply drugs. Government should be producing cocaine, so it's, you know exactly what you're getting. Legalize it, so it's $1 a kilo. Takes away all the gun violence, doesn't it? Overnight, all the cartels, all that violence, takes it away overnight. If drugs are $1 a kilo, takes it all away. Government takes control of it. You know, then we put all the police resources into fighting violent crime, which will go right down because, hang on, who's carjacking to get to their drug hit? No one. So, you know, it just takes away all that. But again, it's too much logic here. Too much logic. And then we have the education about drugs, etc. You know, it's but hey, this world's not about that. This world's about, you know, the system likes how the system has got it going right now. This ain't going to change. That's why I recommend vasectomies. Because imagine trying to have a kid now and then grooming that kid up, you know, to be a good adult, have a good life. It's like wearing a suit made of paper and you're walking into a hailstorm, a rainstorm. You know what I mean? It's like, that suit is just going to get shredded at some point. You might, every day you're like gliding through that rainstorm. Oh, there's rain over here, put the umbrella on. One day you're going to get caught out and that paper suit, whoosh, it's just going to get washed off. All that hard work parenting is just going to be like, ping, gone. Because that's just how fucked up society is, man. So that's why, yeah, being a parent, man, is going to be the hardest job ever for people out there. You know, it already is the hardest job out there for people. I look what my mum went through, and I grew up in the 80s. I was born in 77. You know, like the 80s was like a good time. The 90s was getting a bit rough, but now, man, it's crazy. You can order, yeah, it's just nuts. So as I'm taking porn, if you're addicted to it, have a break, man. You know, just use less. And just sort of dive deep. Okay, what are you seeking? What are you chasing? What are you trying to feel? What are you running away from, or etc.? What do you feel insecure about? Is it really worth you feeling insecure about? I think you'll find the answer is no. It's not worth it. So just trying to like dive deep into it. Go, what am I doing here? What sort of need am I feeling? Oh, my hormones are really good. Okay, your hormones are good. Then get into sport, get into running, get into cycling, get into weights, get into dancing. Don't injure yourself. You know, just transmutate that sexual energy. You know, get a partner and get a vasectomy, and just, you know, have fun, enjoy yourself. You know, make other people feel good who, you know, in your life, who are important to you. So transmutate that energy versus trying to suppress it down. Shift it to where it's more appropriate. There we go. Shift it to where it's more appropriate. I don't think anyone has an addiction to porn. I think people have a misappropriation of focus and energy that can be better directed to something that's going to help them feel more productive in life. Right? So I think porn's got its pros, porn's got its cons. Use it smartly, use it wisely, if I can give a generic term. And I do think that it shouldn't be so easy to access for kids because their executive function, their brains, their, you know, adult context isn't formed yet. So I think that is, you know, what would it be like being a 12-year-old today, you know, watching like full-on, you know, current trending porn. You know, like, you're going to have a different opinion of women and men, you know, a warped opinion, I would say, a warped opinion. It's, yeah, the innocence is lost. Innocence is lost very, very early in life today. And that can be good and bad, you know. An innocence and lost, it's good to lose your innocence when it comes to drugs in sport or drug in society or how the government runs, blah, blah, blah. Understand the truth in that. But the other stuff, you know, I think that the sexual side, I think we should be a bit more, you know, be a child before you start seeing adult things, you know. That's just my opinion, strong opinion on that one. I think a lot of people agree with that. That's my take on porn. Is that good enough, or isn't it? Like, listen down below. If you want more in depth, we can do more in depth. That's just touching the surface here, as much as we can on YouTube, because there are rules here.